to the New Hope Kids training video series. This series is designed for anyone who has signed up to work in our kids team ministry but has not gone through any sort of training, anyone who's already on our ministry that feels they need more training or they want a refresher in some of the things we've learned in the past, or anyone who's interested in maybe they want to join the team but they're not quite sure and they want to know what we do and how we do it. This is our first video in the series. And in this video, we're going to look at the game plan. What is our strategy for New Hope Kids Ministry? First question we want to ask is, where are we going? When I was a kid and my mother was teaching me to sew, I had the worst time of sewing crooked because I was so carefully watching my needle and what I was doing right then that the fabric would be moving back and forth and I had a crooked line. And I had to learn to not look at what I was doing, but look ahead where I wanted to go. And when I did that, and I was able to look at where I was going, instead of looking right at the needle, I was able to sew a straight line. It's the same thing with our children's program. If we look at each Sunday as a week, each event, each holiday, anything that we do, any activity we do as its own entity, we're not going to get where we're going. So what we want to do is look at what is our end goal for when the kids leave our ministry, where do we want them to be, what do we want them to have learned, and then if we keep our eye there, we can develop a strategy for how to get there. So our goal for our preschoolers is to incite wonder. We want our preschoolers to be amazed at the wonder of God's creation and all that He has made, and the fact that He made them and He loves them. That is our goal for preschool, that they develop a sense of wonder and the knowledge of the love of God for them. Our little babies come to us, and everything is wonder to them. Everything is new and amazing, and we want to grab a hold of that and carry that through and develop that. We have little verses and prayers that we say over our babies as we're changing diapers. We have a sign up over the changing table that says, say this to the kids. Make sure they understand this. When you're reading a book, remind them that God made this, God did this, God loves you. Over and over, even as infants. In our elementary kids, we want to provoke discovery. We want them to develop the desire to learn more, to discover more about God, more about the world we live in, and more about who He is, how He made them, why He did the things that He did, and why He still does the things that He does. In our preteen ministry, we want them to develop their own passion for serving, for loving others, for developing where they might go in the future as their own ministry. So how do we do this? Every Sunday morning starts with Make It Fun activities. Our preschoolers have games and activities that introduce a concept that we're going to talk about in our Bible story. So the game or activity may not be centered around a Bible lesson, but it introduces a concept that then they will learn about when they hear the Bible story. And they're like, oh, and they can make that connection. Sometimes it's puzzles, sometimes it's games, sometimes it's parachutes. But whatever it is, it'll introduce them to something they're going to find more about later and get them curious. And that's the goal of the Make It Fun activities. Then we have what we call the Make It True time. That would be our worship and Bible story time. We have that both downstairs and upstairs. We have a Bible lesson. We have a time of worship. We use videos with dance moves and lyrics to help the kids not have to focus on remembering things, but they can see it, they can follow along, and they can take part. And then we have an interactive Bible story where there's audience participation. We use slides and pictures and whatever we can to help them to understand and to get engaged in the Bible lesson. Next, we go to our Make It Stick time. And that's the time where we use crafts and take-home projects that the kids can use as they're making their crafts and as they're doing their take-home projects. The teacher discusses with them the principles that we learned and how does this craft remind us of our Bible story. And when you go home and you're talking with your parents, you can show them this and share with them what you learned in Sunday school. And so that's the purpose of the crafts and things, is to make the lesson stick. It's a way to help them remember and help them talk about what they learned at home with their parents. Finally, we have our Make It Real time every day. That is our small group time upstairs. We break up into 3 different small groups by age. Downstairs, each room is small enough that they do their own time where we do prayer requests. We have discussion time where we let the kids talk. We let them discuss what we've learned, questions that they have, and we can try to answer. If this Bible story reminded them of something that they wanted to know, that's their time that they can ask questions, and we can help them figure out how to use what they learned that day in their everyday life. Our elementary school children may want to know, well, how does this help me at school? And so we try to show ways to apply what they learned when they're dealing with their friends, when they're dealing with their teachers, when they're dealing with their siblings or their parents, how what we've learned here will help them out there. Our preschool kids have to deal with sharing. They have to deal with siblings. They have to deal with not having control over what they wear, where they go, what time they eat, what they eat. And so we try to help them work through these things with the lessons that we have learned on how they can actually take what they've learned and let it help them deal with some of the things they're learning to do on their own at home. Upstairs in our small groups, we do some more deeper discussions where we encourage the kids to ask questions. We are not afraid of their questions. We get some doozies. Why does God allow this? Or why doesn't God do this? How come I prayed for this and it didn't happen? And we welcome it, and we talk it through, and we help them discover and let them know that it's okay to have questions. God is not afraid of your questions, and that's actually how you learn and grow in your relationship, is by asking those questions. So that's what our small group Make It Real time is all about. Finally, we want to partner with parents. We have children for an hour, hour and a half, once a week. On average, a child will attend maybe 40 hours of Sunday school in a year, because they have sports, they have illness, they have vacations, they have trips to grandma's, sleeping over at a friend's, and they may not be here every Sunday. So we only get about 40 hours a year. The average parent has about 3,000 hours a year with their child. They're in the car, they're at home, they're at after-school activities, but throughout their day, they spend a lot more time with their children than we do. So if we can find out from the parents, how can we help you with your child? What are the things your child is asking that you would like us to help you with? And then we provide materials and weekly activities that the kids can do with their parents, parents can do with their kids, just suggestions of things to talk about, activities to do together that will help reinforce the lessons we're teaching on Sundays and help them to be better parents. Because I've never met a parent that said, I really, really want to stink at this. I want to mess up my kids really badly. It just doesn't happen. Parents want to be good parents, and they need help. And so that's our job in the children's ministry, is to help them do the best job they can. And so we're a support role for the parents. So we make sure that we talk to the parents when they drop their kids off. How's your kid this week? Is there anything we need to know? Have they had a bad morning? Have they had a great morning? Have they had any accomplishments that we should be celebrating with them? Are they having any struggles that maybe we can pray with them over? Just let them know that we care. And then when they come to pick up their children, we want to again connect with the parents. You know, so-and-so had a great day today. Or we struggled with this, but we worked through it. And, you know, this week we learned this, and your child prayed for this. Or just anything we can share that we can be working together with the parents, because the parents and the Sunday school working together have a greater impact than either one of us has alone. And so that's our strategy, that's our plan for where we want our kids to be when they leave here, and how we plan to get them there.